Hey guys, it's Simeon. This is Pro Wrestling Unlimited as we are here on the 4th of January 2021 to talk about everything that went down tonight on Monday Night Raw. Honestly, I'm looking, thinking, as Macho would say, thinking. If I'm thinking about tonight's Raw, I thought it was an okay show. I didn't think it was great or anything. I liked the main event. Jeff Hardy and Randy Orton was a pretty good match as well. But overall, it was, like most weeks, just a show. But with that, I want to say thank you for joining me here. Twitch.tv/PWU Unlimited. YouTube.com/Pro Wrestling Unlimited. Remember, you can help us out a couple of different ways. You can either help us out here on Twitch by giving us a donation. Donations, the button's down below, or with Twitch bit donations. Also, you can help us out with a tiered subscription or Amazon Prime subscription, because if you have Amazon Prime, then you have Prime Gaming. With your Amazon Prime subscription, you get one free subscription to any Twitch channel you want to support throughout the month, and we would greatly appreciate it if that one channel you supported was us here at Pro Wrestling Unlimited. Also, remember, if you want to get your question answered on YouTube, all you got to do, give us a super chat donation, and we will make sure to read your question live on the air. But with that, I hope you guys are having a great 2021 so far. I'm still tired because we were up late last night doing Wrestle Kingdom, and I haven't even gone to bed yet, ladies and gentlemen. But with that, we've got Monday Night Raw to talk about, and Monday Night Raw was Legends Night. And right off the bat, this show, what the fuck? So the show kicks off with this camera zoomed right in on a cell phone with and it's an iPhone, 11 or whatever it is. I don't know. I'm not an iPhone person. Hate them personally. But it's zoomed in on an iPhone, and it's got a Hulk Hogan Hulkamania cover on it, like cell phone case. And Hulk Hogan's like, this is the H phone, brother. You can do this and that, and Twitter and Instagram and blah, 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 blah. And then he flips it over and it's got a picture of him on it. He goes, you can also make a call, And I'm like, what? They're already basically telling people, don't watch this shit show of a show. And then we go to Miz TV. And granted, sometimes Miz TV is pretty good. Sometimes Miz TV is hit or miss. Tonight was hit or miss because of all of the New Day and Miz and Morrison back and forth crap. So Miz ran down a couple of things for tonight's show, like Drew McIntyre defending the WWE Championship against one Keith Lee, and Randy Orton taking on Jeff Hardy. With that, he then said that he's glad to have his Money in the Bank briefcase back, and he's going to introduce his guest for tonight, The New Day. Kofi Kingston welcomed Miz and Morrison to their talk show, actually. He said, this ain't Miz TV no more. This is New Day Talks. He said he's the host, and Xavier would be the band leader, basically. They mocked Miz and Morrison by doing their correct stuff, which is so freaking annoying. And then Miz goes, well, what is this? Woods trying to get practice before he fails on G4? Kingston asked some hard-hitting interview questions, and Miz was annoyed as Morrison played along. Miz interrupted, but his rant was then interrupted by one Teddy Long. And this just got worse. Teddy Long comes out and goes, Miz, Morrison, you guys tonight are going to face The Undertaker. And I go, The Undertaker? And then New Day starts freaking out or whatever. But, of course, Adam Pearce enters, whispers in Survivor Series. And Teddy Long goes, oh, yeah, we're going to have ourselves a tag team match, player. This was a horrible way to start Legends Night. You bring all these fans in saying, see some of the legends of the past, like Hulk Hogan, Ric Flair, Mickie James, even though she's technically not a legend from the past. She's a current roster member. And then you start the show with this bullshit? So dumb. So stupid. I bet you a lot of people booed out after that first hour. Then we go into a 13-minute match. Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods against the Miz and Morrison. New Day were in full control early on, and Kingston took out Miz and Morrison with a dive, which led to a break pretty quickly after we had just came back from a break. The New Day were still in control after the break, and a slight distraction by the Miz allowed Morrison to take control of Kingston. Kingston avoided a Miz figure 4 and attempted the SOS before making the hot tag to Woods. Woods hit Morrison with a clothesline and a roundhouse kick and a discus forearm as Kingston took out Miz on the outside. Morrison tried to get his feet on the ropes with a cover, but Kingston kicked him off. Woods then followed this up with a Shining Wizard on Morrison to pin him and pick up the victory. John Morrison gets pinned as Xavier Woods picks up the victory for the New Day. And at this point, we're roughly 30 minutes into the show. And they mentioned Orton earlier, but didn't mention the Alexa Bliss stuff until now. Like Russo interviewed Orton. She asked him, and I quote, "Randy, what was going through your mind when you held that match?" I read it wrong. She said, "Randy, what was going through your mind when you held that burning match?" Orton said the voices were telling him to drop the match, to set Bliss on fire, but he couldn't do it. Orton knew that everyone changed when they faced the Fiend, so he decided to show Bliss mercy and compassion. He said he hated himself for that, but the hatred could be molded and sculpted, and that meant that he could be capable of anything. He said the newfound hatred inside of him could be directed towards someone else. Russo wanted to ask him about the Fiend, but Orton didn't want to talk about the Fiend. Orton wanted to walk around and find him a legend, an old friend, to maybe have some fisticuffs with. He said, "There's a lot of legends here. You know what they used to call me? Might need to go walk around a little bit." Then they aired something from some TikTok New Year's thing with the New Day and R-Truth, and R-Truth getting pinned for the 24/7 title by Angel Garza. Cool. Then Angel Garza's there. Garza was speaking with Alicia Fox and talked about how beautiful his new championship was. She asked him if he saw the TikTok video of the guy riding on a skateboard with cranberry juice and the Fleetwood Mac song and stuff, and Garza said no. She says she was appalled. She said that he didn't know what beauty really was and left. Garza kept walking around and found Sergeant Slaughter, Mickie James, and Tatanka. He tried giving Mickie the rose. Sergeant Slaughter grabbed it, sniffed it, and then said, "Back it." Yeah, it was whatever. I'm kind of mad because it's like, no, Garza is so good. Don't make him a 24/7 geek. Please don't. I hope this was just like a 1 week thing and we're over it. So, next up we had AJ Styles versus Elias. This was a rematch from last week's show, and early on, Elias was in control. Styles tried a phenomenal forearm at one point after a commercial break, but Elias caught him with a knee for a 2. Styles came back with a brain buster and a Styles Clash to pick up the victory in a roughly 10-minute match where not much happened. But then after the match, Jackson Ryker tried to jump into the ring and strike AJ with a guitar, but almost would kick the guitar right out of Ryker's hand and then throw AJ out of the way to safety. Cool. Ryker and Elias retreated. Going forward, they aired an interview from earlier in the day where Sarah Schreiber asked Charlotte Flair about the Royal Rumble. She basically asked, since she won last year, does she have any advice for the women entering the Rumble this year? And she said, "Don't listen to the critics. I wasn't the favorite, and I still ended up winning." Because with that, I myself will be entering into the Royal Rumble. So Charlotte is the third woman to be entered into this year's Women's Royal Rumble match. Also, we did learn that AJ Styles will be in the Men's Royal Rumble as well. Riddle spoke with Big Show backstage, and Riddle said, "Yo, you ever consider being the big bro?" And the Big Show goes, "It's the big bro." Riddle liked his pipes and said, all right, I got to go get ready for my match with Bobby Lashley. Big Show was then confronted by Randy Orton. Orton asked how it felt being back here, but with all the legends. Show said, what are you trying to get at? I can get in that ring anytime I want. Orton put his hands on Show, but Show didn't bite. He said that he knew what Orton was trying to do, to get him to do something stupid. Show said he's happy just to be here with all the others and just soak it all in. Orton basically then would go on to call the Big Show a coward. Big Show kind of just smiled and shrugged it off. Next up, they stated that they said Charlotte Flair, one half of the Women's Tag Team Champions, will be in singles action after the break. Then we come back from the break and get a tag team match. What the fuck happened here? It was Asuka and Charlotte with Rick, and yes, this is a rematch from last week, against Peyton Royce and Lacey Evans. Royce and Evans double-teamed Charlotte to gain the advantage, but Asuka tagged in and fought them both off. Royce knocked Asuka off the top rope as Evans and Rick had a little friendly exchange at ringside that Charlotte did not like, so she slapped Lacey and said, stay away from my dad. Charlotte confronted Rick, and Rick was like, hey, don't get all mad. What's the beef? And then Lacey would spear Charlotte at ringside. This led to a break. Evans and Royce worked over Asuka after the break. Asuka fought back and made a tag to Charlotte, who hit Evans with a forearm, a chop, and an exploder suplex. Royce tagged in, but Charlotte suplexed her as well. Charlotte then hit a moonsault right after tagging in Asuka. Asuka then hit Royce with a Shining Wizard for a near fall. Asuka kicked Royce, and Charlotte hit her with a natural selection, but Evans broke up the pin. Evans gave Asuka a neck breaker in between the ropes before deciding to flirt a little bit with Ric Flair. Byron Saxton noted how stupid it was to stop mid-match and do this, which he ain't wrong. Charlotte then knocked down Evans with a baseball slide. Charlotte focused on Royce, but Royce whipped her into the ropes. Rick wasn't paying attention and assumed it was Royce coming off the ropes, so he put his hands on her and tripped Charlotte by accident. Thinking it was tripping Peyton Royce, Peyton then cradled Charlotte to pick up the victory. So yes, Lacey Evans and Peyton Royce did defeat the Women's Tag Team Champions tonight with some accidental help from one Ric Flair. Charlotte would then get in Rick's face and say, stay out of my business again. But unlike last time, she didn't slap him. Because this has happened before, where she said, you're just holding me back. You're making this more work for me than it needs to be. Get out of my business. Rick nodded and walked away. And if Charlotte's supposed to be the babyface here, what the hell? This was not a babyface thing to do, to tell your father, get out. I don't want to see you anymore. No. Super heel thing to say. You're going to hold me back? Family or not, get the fuck out. Basically what she said. So backstage, Sheamus caught up with Drew McIntyre and wished him luck before his title defense tonight against Keith Lee. He asked McIntyre to give Lee an extra kick when he's done. McIntyre said that he would do whatever it took to retain his title. Hulk Hogan and Jimmy Hart would then appear as Hogan put over Sheamus and McIntyre. Hogan said that McIntyre reminded him a lot of himself. McIntyre took that as a compliment and then said, so does that mean Sheamus reminds you of Jimmy? They both got big mouths. Sheamus was a little offended here. He said that he'd see them at the bar later. Jimmy Hart told Sheamus to lighten up as they walked off screen. McIntyre looked into the camera and said Hulk Hogan's catchphrase and then directed it towards Lee, and McIntyre and Hogan posed together. Cool. This is an alright segment. Next up, we got about a 10-minute match, 9 to 10 minutes. Riddle versus U.S. champion Bobby Lashley. Riddle attacked Lashley as soon as the match began and didn't even let him get his wits about himself. The referee separated them as the match began. He finally rang the bell and whatnot. Riddle was on offense till Lashley blocked a PK. He hoisted him up on his shoulders and rammed him right into the post. And these two actually had a pretty dang good match. This led to a break about 90 seconds into the match. Lashley was firmly in control when we came back until Riddle slipped out of a Dominator and hit that PK for a 1 count. Riddle followed this up with a final flash knee for a 2. Riddle went to the top, but Lashley grabbed him and hit that Dominator. Lashley applied the Hurt Lock, and Riddle tried to counter by kicking off the middle ropes. The referee had to dodge out of the way to not get kicked by Riddle. Lashley had the hold applied, and Riddle was tapping, but the ref was still, I guess, down from his dodge. And he was out of position, couldn't see Riddle tapping. Lashley would then let go of the Hurt Lock to go grab the ref and say, hey, he's tapping, look, why didn't you call it? As Lashley was arguing with the ref, Riddle applied a schoolboy and pinned Lashley 1, 2, 3, middle of the ring. This did Riddle no favors. Yes, he won, but technically he lost. Riddle won the match, but he tapped out, and the ref just didn't see it. That was bad, because it doesn't make... Because now the theory is supposed to be Riddle won. Oh my God, he beat the U.S. champ. Give him a title shot. But did you make him look strong throughout the entire match? Early, yes. But making him tap to lead to a title match? That's not the way to go, bro. In the back, Ricochet thanked Mark Henry for his advice. Mark Henry had one leg resting on a little knee scooter walker thing. I guess he's hurt. I don't know. But we saw Mark Henry a couple times tonight, and he had one of those little like scooter walker things where you put your leg up on it. So, yeah, I guess Mark Henry got a bum leg. I don't know. After Ricochet left, Orton showed up. Orton mocked Henry for his scooting around and asked him, how fast does that thing go? He told him that he owed him a lot of receipts from being on the receiving end of the world's strongest slam over and over again. Orton warned him and told him to leave. So Mark Henry just left. Like Orton said leave, he said, okay, brother. MVP then told Charlie Caruso that Riddle tapped out and quit. He called this result a travesty. Lashley said that he will punish Riddle's, his words, I'll punish Riddle's punk ass. Next up, we were supposed to get Shayna Baszler versus Mandy Rose, but the match never happened. Mandy was making her entrance, and, well, as they were showing a replay, Shayna beat her ass. Dana Brooke would run down, and this was another one that was just like, fuck was this? So Dana Brooke would run down, jump in the ring and say, I want to fight you, Shayna. Get in the ring. So we had a 39-second match where Shayna Baszler beating ass. She then got grabbed by Dana Brooke. Dana Brooke put her up on her shoulders. Shayna slipped off the shoulders, put her in the Karafuda clutch. Dana then did like a judo kind of throw deal where Shayna didn't let go of the Karafuda clutch. She pinned Shayna 1, 2, 3. Then Shayna just stands up with the Karafuda clutch still in and chokes out Dana Brooke. What the hell? What? I don't get it at all. I don't get this at all. This is worse than the Riddle thing. Who were you supposed to be trying to make look strong here? Dana Brooke? Shayna Baszler? Because neither did. Actually, no, I was wrong. Dana never actually passed out. She tapped, and as it seemed like she was going to maybe pass out, Mandy would run in with a flash knee. That's what it was, a little pump knee. And if you guys aren't keeping track, that's 3 matches now where it's basically a fluke win. Where it's basically either a roll-up or a fluke win. Ric Flair was in the back speaker with Mighty Molly, or Molly Holly, I mean, and IRS. As Randy Orton would approach, Molly and IRS would leave. Good thinking there, IRS. You don't want the same fate as your son from the Randy Orton. I don't know why I said the Randy Orton. From Randy Orton. Basically, Randy Orton asked Rick if he would walk him down to the ring for his match with Jeff Hardy, and Rick said no. Rick said that he's after what Orton did to him, he's not going to help him out anymore. Orton told Rick that Charlotte is the is the only thing keeping him relevant, and she is a way better wrestler than he ever was, and he is nothing but a pathetic old man. We then saw Keith Lee getting ready for his match. Matt Riddle came up and just gave him a little pep talk and wished him good luck. Move on to the third hour as we had Randy Orton versus Jeff Hardy in a 14-minute match. I enjoyed this match. Hardy gave Hardy a back suplex on the announce table early. Orton was in control until Hardy hit a neck breaker and a flying clothesline off the apron. With no explanation, Orton was then just in control after the break. He stuck his fingers in each of the earlobes of Jeff Hardy and yanked them. This is similar to what he did in the 2019 Hell in a Cell match that the two had. He literally grabbed the gauged ears and yanked and just pulled and pulled and pulled. And when he did it in Hell in a Cell, I go, oh my God, that looks like it hurts. But then I had a lot of people that have the gauged ears tweet me back and go, no, not really. You can yank on them things and almost not feel anything. So, okay. The announcers were freaking out about this, and Hardy got out of it with a jawbreaker. He had an inverted atomic drop and a leg drop for a 2, followed by a whisper in the wind for another 2. Orton followed this up with the draping DDT. Hardy tried to twist of fate, but Orton countered it into an RKO to pick up the victory. Finally, a decisive win. And I know we had a decisive win in that tag match with the New Day, Miz and Morrison and all that. But we had 3 matches in a row with just weird crap finishes. So it was good to see that this match, which should have and did get a real finish, got a real finish. In the back, we see Melina. Good to see Melina here tonight. And Lucha House Party approached her, and she's like, are you ready for Lucha Legends night? And she said, oh, I'm ready. And then she did the Lucha chant, Lucha, Lucha, Lucha. And the Lucha House Party walked off doing the Lucha chant. That was all we got of Melina. That was it. And we ended up having Lucha House Party against the tag team champions Shelton Benjamin and Cedric Alexander. The story of this match was that Alexander kept tagging himself in, not just getting the tag from Shelton, but tagging himself in. And Shelton was getting more and more annoyed. This actually led to an argument. As they argued, Lince Dorado kicked Benjamin before tossing Alexander from the ring. Dorado cradled Benjamin and picked up the victory in a 3-minute match. Yes, another roll-up and another champ that got technically beat. MVP tried getting Benjamin and Alexander to get on the same page at one point, and Alexander just left. In the back, we see Tori Wilson and Nikki Cross. Angel Garza tried to give Wilson a rose. Wilson told him that she invited some celebrities here to Raw, and they're in the other room, like one Cardi B. Garza believed her and went into the room to find none other than the Boogeyman. Garza got scared and bailed. As he ran off, R-Truth would roll him up and pin him to become the new 24/7 champion for like the 50th time. Truth, Cross, and Wilson all skipped away as Ron Simmons approached, and we heard the, well, damn. And here's what I thought was going to happen here. When Tori Wilson said, Cardi B's in that room over there, I thought he was going to walk in because all the rumors we've heard. I thought he was going to walk in, and then you hear someone go, it's not Cardi B, it's Eva Marie. That's what I thought we were going to get. But no, it's the damn Boogeyman. No Eva Marie at all, even though she's been backstage recently. Then we move on to our main event. Drew McIntyre defending the WWE Championship against Keith Lee in a 21-minute match. But before we talk about that match, got to talk about our sponsor. Sponsor for this video is none other than Pro Wrestling Loot. Pro Wrestling Loot is here to bring you an assortment of merchandise all at one time. Now, got to do this today because today is the cutoff. January 4th is the cutoff to get the January box. If you get that January box, you will get items from Victoria, Too Cold Scorpio, and AAA Lucha Libre. Every box will come with a t-shirt, an autograph, an art piece or poster, and a collectible. The collectible will be, and I got one right here, a pint-sized All-Stars figure. Looks like this. I don't know who's going to be in next month's box, but you'll get one of those. Head over to ProWrestlingLoot.com right now and use code PWUnlimited at checkout to get 20% off of your first box. Again, that is code PWUnlimited at checkout to get 20% off at ProWrestlingLoot.com. All right, so we move on to our main event. It was Drew McIntyre defending the championship, WWE Championship, against Keith Lee, and all the legends sat at the top of the ramp on the stage and watched, including guys like Booker T, Jeff Jarrett, Hulk Hogan, and others. So the match started off with just these two bulls going at it, basically. They fought back and forth until Lee actually pounced McIntyre over the barricade, which led to a break. After the break, Lee was in control until McIntyre tried mounting a comeback, but he failed twice, and he failed twice to get Lee up for a suplex. McIntyre finally nailed an overhead suplex on the third attempt and followed it up with a neckbreaker. Lee dodged a claymore and hit a big chokeslam for a 2. McIntyre was on the outside, and Lee went onto the apron, but momentarily just was distracted. Sorry about that. This allowed McIntyre to grab Lee and powerbomb him through the announce table. Lee, God, I hope he's okay, which I'm pretty sure he is because he kept going. Fucking cracked just right on the edge of that announce table. It looked bad, and it led to a break. After the break, McIntyre hit a flying clothesline for a 2. Lee came back with a clothesline for a 2 of his own. McIntyre hit a Future Shock DDT and got, another 2. Then they piped in This Is Awesome chants. 2 battled on the top, and Lee hit a damn Spanish fly for a 2. Now, I know I said that like I'm shocked, but I'm really not, because how many times have we seen, I'm kind of shocked, because I've never seen McIntyre do a Spanish fly. I think Keith Lee and Dijak do it plenty of times. McIntyre came right back, though, with the spine buster and got a 2 off of this. McIntyre would hit a claymore, but Lee caught his leg and blocked it. McIntyre slipped out of a spirit bomb attempt and hit a claymore to pin Keith Lee and retain the WWE Championship. You had a good match. Actually, a really good match. It was basically exactly what I expected. The legends all stood up and clapped as Goldberg's music would then hit. And Goldberg didn't just come out with the legends. He frickin' marched all the way down to the ring and called out Drew McIntyre. Told Drew McIntyre that he's nothing more than disrespectful to all those legends. He said, Drew, I've heard what you said. You probably think that you're better than any of those legends. You're probably better than any of those legends now or at their peak. He said, but McIntyre, you may have the size and the speed of the athleticism, but you don't have the respect. Goldberg said that McIntyre must look at the legends and think that he's better than them. Goldberg said that he's not coming out here demanding anything. He is making a challenge. He wants to challenge McIntyre for the WWE Championship at the Royal Rumble. McIntyre said Goldberg was wrong. Everybody knows that he respects every legend that's come before him. McIntyre also said that Goldberg wasn't the same that he was 20 years ago. Fighting him now would be like fighting his father, his dad. And then we get the little graphic at the bottom of the screen. It says the show's going off the air. Goldberg shoves McIntyre as McIntyre's butt hits the ground. Show goes off the air. I don't know how much more they were supposed to do, what we missed, but they cut it right as McIntyre bumped. Yeah. McIntyre versus frickin' Goldberg at the Royal Rumble. Just stew on that for a minute. After Goldberg went on the bump like a month and a half ago and called out Roman. Now, I don't know who the fuck's going to challenge Roman. Well, I know it's probably going to be frickin' Kevin Owens again. But what? Goldberg and McIntyre. I mean, if anyone's going to pull out a decent to good match with Goldberg, it's going to be McIntyre. I mean, Strowman, they knew what they were doing there. At least they get that match done quick. The Fiend match, fuck that. So that's going to be the match. Goldberg versus Drew McIntyre. But with that, guys, now I want to hear from you. Let me know what you guys thought of tonight's show by texting in to 510-906-1341. Again, that number is 510-906-1341. Person here says, do you think breaking up the Hurt Business? Do you think they're breaking up the Hurt Business, or at least breaking Cedric or Shelton off? I don't know, and I hope they don't break them up at all. I think those four guys together are doing some of the best of their careers, or at least over the last 5 to 10 years. Best work. I think those four guys are great together as a heel unit that can sometimes, if needed, show babyface tendencies. But I hope they don't break them up. I think they're great together, all four of those guys. This person says, do you think Keith Lee would be a good champion on Raw? Yes, I do. I think Keith Lee would make a good WWE champion, but it's too soon. I just think it's way too soon. Person says, is it just me, or has Randy Orton literally countered Jeff Hardy's Twist of Fate in every match they've had together and won by it? Maybe. I don't know. I'd have to go back and watch all the matches. And he also says, if somehow Miz successfully cashes in the briefcase, hold on. He's got some weird, to whoever the current WWE champion is, either at the Royal Rumble or WrestleMania, how should they book this championship run? Possibly Morrison betraying him and challenging him for the title. I mean, here's my thought on this. And I've been thinking about this since last week. Miz almost has to now have a successful cash-in, right? He already did the failed cash-in and got the briefcase back. If he does another failed cash-in, that almost just kills any kind of aura around the Money in the Bank. Like, the Money in the Bank briefcase will be just, no one's ever going to care about it again if Miz fails twice in a row. Like, Miz has to successfully cash in somehow. How they book his run, I don't know. This person says, correction. I've heard Daniel Bryan will challenge Roman Reigns at WrestleMania if Goldberg doesn't. Okay, what are you correcting? I was talking about Royal Rumble. Bryan's in the Rumble. I think Bryan or Sheamus wins the Rumble. I'm still leaning more towards Sheamus, but they're really pushing hard that Bryan's never won a Battle Royal. But your correction here, null and void, because I wasn't talking about WrestleMania. I was talking about Royal Rumble and Kevin Owens challenging once again Roman Reigns. Person says, I would have Goldberg beat Drew. The Miz cashes in and wins. I feel like Miz has to win since they gave him the briefcase back, or it would be pointless. Exactly like I said. Now, that's a tough one, saying him cash it in on Goldberg, because if they do a Goldberg match here, then that would be Goldberg beating the crap out of McIntyre and still feeling good afterwards. Not Goldberg going toe-to-toe with McIntyre and, yes, winning, but then still being beat down. You know, that's the thing. If Goldberg is to beat McIntyre for the title, he's not going to be so tired and beat down afterwards that it's going to be easy for Miz to cash in. And if Miz tries to cash in on Goldberg's just going to whoop him too. So there's no way that it would even be feasible for Miz to cash in on Goldberg. And this last one here says, do you think Riddle will beat Lashley if he challenges him at the Royal Rumble? Well, I don't think that match is going to happen at Royal Rumble unless they're doing double duty, because at least Lashley's already said he's in the Rumble. So I don't see Lashley dropping the title to Riddle, no. But I know Vince really likes Riddle, so I could see it happening. I'm just not quite expecting it myself. But with that, guys, I want to say thank you for joining me here. Twitch.tv/PW Unlimited, YouTube.com/Pro Wrestling Unlimited. Now, here's the thing. In roughly an hour and a half, Wrestle Kingdom's going to start back up. Actually, 2 hours or so, because there's no pre-show match tonight. Then, once that show is over, about 4 hours later, we're going to be live again right here on Twitch, right here on YouTube, running down that entire show. So we will be live in about, 6.5 hours, right back here. So with that, guys, I want to say thank you. If you don't catch us for Wrestle Kingdom, the video will be up on YouTube for you guys to catch later. And then we'll be back live on Wednesday for AEW Dynamite New Year's Smash Night 1, NXT New Year's Evil. Have a great, great night, guys, and I'll see you next time. If not, in a couple of hours. All right, who should we raid?